Today we're going to take a tour of the rooms above stairs, the gardens, and the barns at the Welsham Ward House. The first room we're going to look at is the south dwelling room chamber. This was most likely the bedroom for the Welleses. The parents would have slept in a large bed surrounded by bed curtains, which would have provided warmth. A baby would sleep with them, again to stay warm. Children would sleep on pallets on the floor with siblings or in trundle beds. The fireplace would not have a fire going at night for fear of the fire. The mattresses were ticks made of hay or feathers. If someone had to go to the bathroom, they would use a chamber pot instead of going outside to the privy or outhouse. The next room we're going to look at is the weaving chamber. Many homes in Glastonbury had spinning wheels, but only a few had looms, which either a man or a woman could run. The loom in this room is over 300 years old and is still used today. This room represents the textile production going on in the house. In spring, boys would shear the sheep, and then the young children, as young as 4, would clean and card the wool. It would then be spun on spinning wheels and then later turned into cloth on the loom. The next room we're going to look at is the chamber above the kitchen. This room is used to demonstrate the flax process. The next room is the pewter room chamber or buttery chamber. This northern chamber room is the coldest in the house and would be where the boys slept. This room was rented out to students when the second owner, Shipman, started a nearby school. Speaking of the Shipmans, let's look at the Shipman chambers. This room is set up to reflect the life of the Shipmans in the 1800s. In this room there's a good example of Kingswood. During colonial times, the king's men traveled around and identified trees of a large width that were to be reserved for the king's ships. No colonist could cut them down, even on their own property. However, if a tree fell down because of a windstorm, the property owner could use the wood, as we see here. Now we're actually going to go outside. Located right outside the kitchen is the well and herb garden. In this garden, a mother would grow herbs needed for cooking and plants that would be used as medicine. In colonial times, a garden would not have been so orderly. Herbs would have been planted around the home where there was room. Farther from the house is the kitchen garden. Here, crops that Jerusha would use to feed her family were grown. These crops would be the 3 sisters, corn, squash, and beans, along with onions and potatoes. Along with the herb and kitchen gardens, the property also has several barns. The first barn we're going to look at is the white barn. The white barn represents technological changes over time. There's a wash tub with a laundry dolly for storing clothes during the washing process. This is the origin of the agitators that are found in modern washing machines. There's also a variety of irons, candle making equipment, and even an eel spear that was used to fish for eel in the Connecticut River. Along with the gardens and barns, the Wells would also have a privy or an outhouse on their property. The last 2 barns we're going to look at are the lower and upper Eastbury barns. The lower Eastbury barn has displays that represent some colonial chores. There is a cow and a stanchion along with milking stool and pail. A winter chore that was pretty common would have been making ice, and all the tools needed to accomplish cutting through the ice are located here. Finally, there's also a rope making machine. In the upper Eastbury barn, there's a variety of tools used in farming, such as plows, scythes, a corn sheller, winnowing baskets and flail, and ropes and pulleys.